Bienvenidos to Pica Poco Kitchen. Today we're making buñuelos de viento, or wind fritters. Vámonos! It is difficult to give buñuelos de viento or wind fritters a time and place in history. Most likely they have an ancient origin from civilizations in Egypt, Turkey, and Rome. And that's what gives them a very unique universality, because you find versions of them in different places around the world. You have Rosette buckles in Norway, or Struve in Sweden. Sorry about that, Waldito. You find cookies in Sri Lanka or appacham in India, and in many other places around the world, but I'm going to stop trying to pronounce the name. You find them in Malaysia and in the Netherlands, in Hawaii. We Mexicans got them from the Spanish, who called them flores de carnaval, or carnival flowers. They are normally consumed during holidays like Christmas, but in Spain specifically, they were consumed in the All Saints' Day, which gave them a little legend. They said that because they're so light and brittle, every time you ate one, you would release a soul from the purgatory. So you know what I'll be serving in my funeral. In Mexico, you can find them all year round, but they're the most popular during celebrations like Independence Day, Christmas, New Year's Eve. They are a very simple recipe with a slightly tricky technique, but I'm going to share with you all my tips so yours work. First, let's talk about the special tool you're gonna be using to make them. This is a Rosette mold. They are accessible online, not very expensive, and they're different styles. This is a double-headed one, which honestly, I don't find the use of it because there's not enough space for two heads. So get the simple one, that will be just fine. You can find them with removable heads or just as a one whole piece. Mine came with different shape molds. You can find the molds individually or as a pack. Mine even came with these tart molds that I have never used and probably won't, at least not in the near future. There's an important aspect though about your mold, regardless of which one you're getting. You need to cure, especially this part. It is a very simple step. The first thing you're gonna do is place them covered in boiling water and let them sit there probably overnight until the water is cold. After that, you're gonna make sure to dry them really well. And now we're gonna submerge them in oil and bring them to a boil. You wanna leave them there as well, preferably overnight. Take them out, just tap the excess oil, and now they are ready to be used. If you don't do this part, you are risking to getting some debris. Of course, wash them first, but also it will make it harder for your rosettes or your buñuelos to release from the mold. So this is something that they don't tell you, but it is really an important step if you want the rest of your recipe to work. Sometimes we blame the batter, but it is most likely that you didn't properly cure your mold. So regardless of which mold you get, make sure to cure it first. For the batter, we're going to start by whisking together 2 whole eggs. To that, we're going to add 1/4 cup of water, a teaspoon of vanilla, a pinch of salt, 2 tablespoons of melted butter. I just melted mine in the microwave. 2 tablespoons of sugar. And for the dry ingredients, we're going to add 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, sifted, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. We're going to mix, trying to integrate as much of the flour as we can right before we add our dairy. In this case, I'm going to be using heavy whipping cream. 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. You can use milk. We're gonna mix it and check the consistency. In this case, this one is too thick, so I'm gonna add 1/4 of a cup of water. If you were using milk, then you can go for another 1/4 of a cup of milk. We're gonna mix that well, and our batter needs to look thin like pancake batter, just like that. And now to the good part. You want to make sure that your oil is hot at a temperature between 360 and 375 Fahrenheit. And we're going to grab our cured mold and let it rest in that oil at least for 1 minute, especially when we're about to begin. I'll be spitting forward this minute just so you're not watching at nothingness. But I do want you to notice that all of the things that I'm going to be using are right next to each other to make everything easier. After that minute, carefully shake as much oil from your mold as you can, and then you're gonna tap it down in a paper towel that is resting on a sacrificial kitchen towel. I say sacrificial because it's gonna be kind of a pain to clean afterwards. It's possible though. And I'm being stupid here and not showing you properly how to dip it, but we will come back to that. What I want you to notice is that after dipping it, I'm letting the batter rest on my mold for at least 8 seconds right before submerging it completely into the hot oil. I'm gonna leave it steady for another 3 seconds, and then with motions up and down, I'm gonna let it slowly release. At this point, since it's already been warm in the oil, you just need to tap the excess oil and go back for more batter for the next buñuelo. Here it is, letting it rest. Dip it completely without touching the bottom, and motions up and down, and that will ensure a better shape. Shake the oil out, tap into your towel, and go back for another batter dipping. You will be tempted to overcrowd your pan, but don't do it. If you look at mine, you could think that easily 4 of them will fit. But the more buñuelos you have in there, the faster you have to work and the less space they have to properly bloom. So 3 in this case will be more than enough. Now we're just gonna give them time to cook. So I'm gonna use a chopstick to flip them over. As you can see, they've had gotten a little bit of a yellow color. It's gonna be up to you how golden you want them. Just have in mind that they're very thin and they cook really fast. Also, once you take them out, the residual heat will keep cooking them, so that might influence the color they get at the end. Personally, I like to keep mine paler just to keep them in a whimsy, white snow looking situation. But you can make them a little bit golden, it's not gonna hurt. And here it is, you can see the difference in color. I use a little container to dust them in sugar. I like to use only sugar for some and cinnamon sugar for others. And this is how they look. And here we go once more. After that batch, I need to reheat my mold for 20 seconds in the oil, tap it down, and here we go. Down once and twice. But as you can see, I am not dipping the mold all the way to the top. It needs to be free so it will release once it hits the oil. So don't go so deep that the batter covers the top of your mold. Let it sit, up and down motions, and release. Now this is an all hands on while you're making some, others might be ready. So just be prepared. Here I changed my shape just to give it a twist and to decide which ones were going to be only sugar. And for the stars, I'm going for sugar and cinnamon. When my batter gets lower, I like to change to a smaller bowl. That way I still have the depth that I need. But the process is the same no matter the shape. You want to dip twice and then wait for it to start turning matte on the mold. Hold down in the mold and then up and down motions to release. Tap down and repeat. When your mold is sufficiently hot, as soon as you dip it into the batter, you're gonna hear a sizzle, and that's a good sign. And that's pretty much it, pretty repetitive. So get your best podcast series ready because we're gonna be here for a while. This batter, depending on the mold you have, it's gonna yield between 60 and 80. If I'm honest with you, I stopped at 60 because I had enough, but probably mine would have yield for another extra 10, but I was done at that point. But I'm not trying to scare you. They are delicious and they're worth it. Okay, just saying. Cinnamon sugar dusting and beautifully done. And here they are. Significantly fewer than what I made. So you can say that I've been taking my soul savior job very seriously. I made some with cinnamon and sugar and some just with sugar, my personal favorites. But you can go one step ahead and let them plain and cover them or drizzle them with chocolate. It's gonna be up to you how you want your life to be even harder than what it already is. But I want you to listen to the crunch. They are simply delightful. And if you're one of those people who gift cookie boxes, either add them or just swap the entire cookies for these ones. And you're gonna make everybody happy. Trust me. So if you enjoy this recipe just like this video, please share it with your friends. Like, subscribe, and be notified. And for more, follow me on the socials. Adios, amigues.